Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Today is October the 27th, 2021. And I am so excited about this interview that we have with our resident researcher, Monier Aki Tolliver. Today, we're going to be asking specific questions about his work. And we're so excited. I'm coming from the African American Resource Center at Booker and from the Chuck Jefferson Library, Research Library. And we want to present Monier's work today. And he is a phenomenal researcher. And we're so excited about that. So without further ado, we would like for Mr. Tolliver, Aki, to talk about himself and to talk a little bit about his work, and then we will proceed with three specific questions.
Thank you, Joyce. Hello, everyone. My name is Aki Tolliver. I'm an independent researcher of Kushite Kemet spiritual science. I've been doing so the last 5 years. It's been an interest of mine since I was in college at Tuskegee to know who I am, what's my purpose here in life. And that led me to wanting to know how our ancestors saw themselves and their purpose of life and what the meaning of life is. And that's led me in studying the religion, the Bible, and some African studies with philosophy and their ideology, and which was led me to the creation of my ebook, which we'll talk about later. So I want to introduce myself by saying EUM Hotep, which means I transform myself so that you may have peace. One of the main purposes in life, according to our ancestors, is to transform your personality into a better you. And then that will create better relationships with oneself, with others, with families, friends, towns, and so on. So create a better world for everyone.
Okay, thank you again. We want to just probably jump right in there and have Mr. Tolliver, and I have three names for him, so I might call him Aki, I might call him Monier, but we want him to jump right in and kind of show us some of the work that he has done, because then it would make sense what the questions will entail. But we want to, if you don't mind sharing your screen with us and allowing us to see some of your work, what you've done with your work. And then at that point, you could kind of describe all of the work that you've done, and then I could proceed with the questioning if that's okay.
Sure. Okay. So as I mentioned before, I've been studying the spirituality of the two first civilizations that I know of, which are Kush and Kemet. And that has led me to gather information. And I used to give presentations on the matter in Atlanta. And I took those presentation slides and created a book. And I guess the easiest way to get into what I do is look at my website. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So this is my website, and it's called Greatest Story Ever Stolen. And I focus on my ebook, which is my proudest achievement, which is also given the name Greatest Story Ever Stolen. And the name was given basically because I felt at the time of my research that the greatest story ever was the Holy Bible. And in my research, I wanted to find the origin of religion. And it also involved finding the origin of the Bible. And I found out that the Bible is made up of stories and ideologies and allegorical references that come from civilizations before its creation. And I found out also that the people in writing the Bible were part of a civilization that had conquered another people. It took their stories, so basically stole their information and created the Bible. But I never discredit what the Bible's purpose is. I give meaning to what those stories are. And that actually, what I found out was the stories in the Bible are about you as God. Um, so here is the web page. And if you look at the top menu, you'll see a videos that ties all the videos I've created that I'm reading from the book itself, which you can see here. And there's two other proud achievements that I share on the website. One discusses some research I've gotten into after I've completed the book, was that the African Americans are the Aboriginal Indians and Europeans. And that is found here by clicking Indians. And what it is also it's a presentation as well that you can click through. And a lot of it is video that will start automatically and text that you can read. So it's sort of like a digital book that's in this technology. And I did it as such because I believe visuals, sound, and reading tied together help bring a more compelling and memorable, convincing way of proving my point. And I'm proving some things in my book, and I'm proving things here in these presentations. So it's informational, that also I'm trying to prove my case that African Americans are the Aboriginal American Indians and Europeans. So my last project that I work on that I don't do as much is showing that the so-called Negro people, these people of dark skin from Africa, were the original people of Europe and Asia and the Americas. So if science to this day still believes that everyone came from Africa, those people did travel by foot and boat around the world to populate the continents of the world. So this was spawned by my brother not visiting Europe and looking at the pictures on the walls in museums and churches and such, and not seeing any people but so-called white Europeans. So he didn't believe that there were so-called Negroes in Europe. So me, from studying things from my book, I understood where the Kushites and Egyptians went during their existence. So if you click on Europeans, you'll see this presentation, which is the same format. You can click on it and it will start a video or whatever, and you can jump around just like a book and choose what slide you prefer to go to. So you don't have to do it all in one sitting. You just like a book, you can go at your own pace and choose what page to go on. So I believe this was, just as my book, something that is more compelling, more than text, to show videos and pictures which show primary sources to help prove my case that the Negro were the first people of Europe.
Okay, Brother Keith, it just, your conversation that you're having, and I maybe should call it the discussion that you're having regarding your work, kind of leads to the first question that I have. What's original about the contribution of your work? Now, listening to you, it sounds like how you proved your point uh, of your finding or your proof, if you will. You use visual aids. Do you think other historians don't necessarily use this technology that you're using? Could you say that your work, what's original about your work is the technology that you're using? Could you say that? What do you think?
Yes, my ebook is just similar. It's called an ebook, and there's on the Amazon Kindle ebook section, it is called a Kindle interactive book. So Kindle interactive books could be books with pictures or videos, or you can move through it like a comic book where it goes through one section of the page as you're reading through it, and those are called Kindle interactive books, and that's what my book is. And out of the information I'm providing and the references that I source, I am the first author that I know of that has a Kindle interactive book. So my book has many pictures and even movies in it that try to provide a visual experience for the reader, because what I'm speaking of, I'm talking about the entire universe, the cosmos, oneself. And I'm showing a lot of references that I want to show the visual reference, not just the text. And so, for example, if someone already has a phone, tablet, or PC, they could download my book and use the Kindle app, which is a free app provided by Amazon for reading. If you don't have a digital tablet or phone or PC, the cheapest entry into reading my book would be obtaining a Fire tablet from Amazon. And this is such a tablet. This one, it goes on sale for, this is their most expensive tablet because I wanted the biggest one. So this size is their biggest, and it goes for around $100 on sale. So the entry point of getting my book, if you want the biggest experience of buying it, will be about $105. My book is $3.45 on Amazon. So if I turn it on here, and here you'll see that this is the book, and many of the pages have a picture alongside the text. So as I scroll here, it scrolls like a page here, and I'm scrolling through each page, and you see that I wanted them to see. So they're seeing artifacts from Kush and Kemet. And when I say Kemet, Kemet is the original name for Egypt. Egypt is a Greek name that the Greeks give to Egypt. Kemet. So, so this is just what you experienced by the book. And then here, so it's not very wordy, and I give it like in a PowerPoint format and keep it very simple. So I'll have a heading at the top. So this is the purpose, and I have the purpose as 2 simple questions of who are you and what is your purpose in life. And I try to keep the whole book as such. So if you see the texts are big and the visuals are big, for those who are on a small phone, they wouldn't have a problem reading it. Okay, so that's the format of my ebook.
Good. That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that information. To know that you, the first historian or researcher that has presented your work in an interactive book, that says a lot about your skill set. So that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. So you want to continue with sharing your screen with some of your other bodies of work, and because I know you've done a lot out there. I know you're on YouTube, you're on Udemy, and there's some other things that you've done. You want to continue?
Yes. So I'm gonna share my screen again. And this is the website again. You can get to, as she mentioned, all of my work in one site. The website, if you choose to go to it, go to the URL, this is the URL here. I'll leave it there in case you want to view it. This will be, so once you enter this site, this is the landing page, the home screen. And at the top, you see the menu. You'll see all the interviews I've been in. The Jesus, is the acronym for my book is Jesus, which is very interesting. It shows all me reading the entire book, and these videos can be found on YouTube. Also in the video section here, you'll see all the videos that I'm mentioning. And these are the two presentations I mentioned earlier. Udemy, if you click here, it will take you to the website. Udemy is an online school, a course where you can learn about anything and obtain a certificate for learning. So you will get a certificate once you complete this course. And the course consists of me reading the book. So if you like audiobooks or don't want to read the book, you can listen to me reading it or watch me going in further detail of the pages of the book. But this was when I first created the book, and the book has gone through many updates. So I do recommend getting the book itself because it's grown almost twice as big to what I'm presenting on Udemy. Okay, so Udemy sets the price. I try to keep it as the lowest price of admissions, and sometimes they do have sales. Go back to my website. If you want to get the book from the website, you always have the buy book button at the top. You can click that and it will take you to Amazon. Here, if you have Amazon Prime, you can get, or Amazon Kindle Unlimited, you can get the book for free. If not, the book is $3.45. And you just click it. I really suggest getting the Kindle app, which is free from Amazon. You can go here and get the Kindle app from their website. Install it on your digital device first. So when you buy the book, you'll say deliver to that device. It'll already be set for you. And when you buy it, you just click where device to send it to, and then it'll automatically be on your device. And I'll show you using the Fire tablet here. Let me unshare my screen so you can see. Once you buy the book, here's the Fire tablet. I swipe up, I'm gonna close the book so you can see that it'll end up in your Kindle library. So these are all my books. I can choose my book here. You just click on it and then it opens the book. I think it's very convenient.
Okay, okay. Now, I know you have done some Native, and I'll say Native American work in Cahokia. You want to talk about that this morning?
Sure. So let's move towards my second, what I'm focused on now, since I finished the book. I listened to my different sources on who prove that African Americans are the Aboriginal Indians. And why do I think that's important? So in my presentations that I was giving on us being the universe and God, which I felt was very important, someone came to me during one of my presentations and said, "Hey, are you aware that we're the Aboriginal people of America?" And I had no clue. I thought I was from Africa because I'm called African American. And that was very intriguing me. That's one of me wanting to understand who I am, even though I'm God, considered God. Or let me break it down. When you say that you're a human, according to the Egyptians, who represents Atom, or the original, the person who always existed. And it's the first And you can tie it in. I tie it in the book that who is God or spirit, that everything is atom and spirit. It's the moving, uh, it has no way to describe spirit. Spirit cannot be described or known, but our ancestors understood that it's a hidden part of nature that permeates through nature that cause things to move and exist. But it always existed and it created everything, and everything is who. So it's not the word synonymous for who are atom and God. So in science, atom is smallest part of it, of a particle that was never created or destroyed. So what does that mean? Is that atom has always existed even before the universe, okay? And it will always exist. That's an atom, and an atom permeates through all things. So what we see, even the space between two individuals, that air is made of atoms. There's no place of the universe that atom does not exist. And you are made of atoms. So there's no place in existence that is not atom. So atom is existence. And in African culture, existence is God. So if I'm not speaking of just physical existence, in Africa, when there's always duality. So there's physical and non-physical. And the non-physical, you can say, is spirit. So they saw nature and saw things existed physically. And when things died and withered away, they understood that it continued as non-physical matter, as spirit. And spirit was the driving force of physical matter, because spirit could not be created or destroyed. It always existed. So they used science, they used stories, they used what they studied in nature. They studied the heavens, the stars, and they created these allegorical stories. And in my book, I proved that they tie that in, and that was creation of the Bible. So you asked about the Indians, and what I'm finding out now is that if everyone came from Africa, then some of the scholars that I'm studying are thinking that the Indians in America and other parts of the world are Africans who once left Africa and took those stories and created civilizations throughout on every continent. So what I'm finding, that you have pyramids in America, you have the same stories, similar stories. You'll have a pyramid, you may have a dragon, and you'll have these pyramids and mounds that are aligned to the stars. So I'm seeing similarities where mounds and pyramids are aligned to the exact positioning in the heavens. And from my understanding for studying Egypt, is that the pyramids are aligned to north, south, east, and west. And so these same people also in the Mayan civilizations, pyramids also aligned to north, south, east, and west. These same people in Africa and the Americas, which we call the Indians, also believe in God, this oneness, and they also created pyramids like the Mayans and the Aztecs. They also had dragons, just like the Egyptians. So I see that there was a common ancestor. So if you read the book that The Greatest Story Ever Stolen, and you will understand that philosophy of these ancient ancestors, you will understand the philosophy of all civilizations. All of them had a similar backstory. They just changed up their stories. But so I saw that the Persians, the Greeks, the Romans, the Mayans, the Aztecs, the Egyptians, most civilizations had very similar philosophy. So I focused on the Indians because I'm an African American, and it's from I'm understanding that the Mayans and the Aztecs are my ancestors. They created the mounds and the civilizations in South America. And in understanding slavery, uh, these Indians, according to my grandfather, uh, are who I am. I'm a Cherokee Indian. You probably never known a Cherokee Indian that looked like me, but most African Americans are the Indian. And what happened during recent history, it was a guy named Walter Plecker in Virginia who mislabeled the Indians as colored, free people of color, and now recently with Jesse Jackson calling the Indians African Americans. So it's just basically a, a, a genocide that was done through paper. They call it paper genocide. How I've been mislabeled African American, but no one came from Africa. Africa was not part of the slave trade. Go ahead.
Okay, Brother Aki, now, I heard you say a lot of things here just in that few segues or moments. I heard you say that we are God. That's number one. I also heard you say that necessarily maybe the diaspora kind of didn't happen. In other words, majority of us did not come across the sea stolen as slaves, and stolen and made into slaves. What would you say to another researcher if he dispelled your research and asked you to prove or cite your source? What would you say?
Okay, so I am not one for debate. I just provide proof. And I'm gonna share my screen again. Let's go back to my website. So if you want to learn more of what I'm speaking of, let's go to my webpage. Let's go to the webpage. And here we're gonna go to Indians. And I'm gonna show you the URL if you're just joining us. This is the URL to get to this page. And here I have many page slides of stating my case here. Right now I'm at 560. And within this presentation, there's one of my sources. He pulls from different books. These are primary sources that he uses. And there's most of the videos in this presentation is him reading through the primary sources, stating the title, the author, the year, the publication. And we're providing primary information of our case that the Aboriginal people of America, just like the Aboriginal people of Europe, of any continent of the world, was of Negro type. So as you see this picture here, it's not even getting into the presentation, just the title page of this slide presentation. We see the Northeast Annual Powwow of the Angonian Indians. And if you look closely, this are Negro type people. So these are Indians, and they're wearing chief headdresses here in the front. These are chiefs. And these are not people from Africa that came over here and then the Indians took them in and they intermarried and they became Indians. These are the original people of America. So this is what I'm proving, that over time, the Indians didn't call themselves Indians. What happened during 1492, the Moors and the Jews, many of them Negro, were kicked out of Europe by the Christians. And then Christopher Columbus came into Dominican Republic in Haiti and landed there and called those people Indians. And that's a term, you will maybe hear the term West Indies. The West Indies is Haiti. in the Caribbean. So if you ever looked at a Haitian, they're very Negroid type. The first people of Haiti were of Negroid type. They're copper colored, brown skin. And he took some of these people back to Queen Isabella and showed them how meek and mild mannered they were. And he gave an idea to them saying, these people are so friendly and so welcoming, we can enslave them with no problem. So he wasn't looking for gold, he was looking for slaves. He was looking for free labor. So when they kicked out the Jews and the Moors from Europe, there was a lot of people who were doctors, lawyers, teachers, filling these trades that ended up not being filled. So Europe had to find a way to replenish these services. So they had needed people to train and provide this labor, and they needed to be able to control them. So Christopher Columbus took people from the Caribbean and from North America and from South America as slaves and brought them to Europe, to North America to use as slaves, and to even Africa. It was called Negro Land, and that's where people were taken from various places of the world, from the Caribbean, who were Indians, and from America over to Europe, and to be used as slaves. And most of them were called indentured servants. Indentured servant means you work for a temporary amount of time, and once you've fulfilled your time on the contract, you either given freedom, sometimes you're given land, or you're given money to do and become free. During this period, a lot of the indentured servants' children were taken by force and were indoctrinated into the European way. So they would no longer learn their Indian customs. They would dress European. They would learn Christianity. So that's why you'll see today a lot of African Americans have lost who they are as Indian. A lot of them are Christians because it was forced on them, their ancestors. And that's how it was indoctrinated into the Indians. They were taking the children who are very impressionable, and the children was raised up Europeanized and to not embrace their culture. Okay.
Wow. Wow. I know you want to continue. Um, Normally, when you speak, you have a lot to talk about and to explain, and that's wonderful. That's the making of a great teacher. Uh, I do have a couple more questions that I want to make sure that we get noted. Uh, because you've said a lot, and you've said a lot about history, and you're dispelling what we have been taught, what we've been indoctrinated to believe, and that's an issue. And I know that's an identity issue for people. With that being said, what do you think is the most significant impact that your knowledge, your information has on the society as a whole and on history itself? What's significant? What kind of impact? What's the
Yeah.
impact?
On a side note, one of the reasons that I think my book is important and my other research about the Indians and the Aboriginal Europeans is important is that history, we've been lied to even to this day. This is 2021. And we have the gatekeepers, which is the government and some other entities who choose to keep the masses fooled to not understanding their past. They do this to maintain control. They want to may seem superior and not telling you that you are God and that you're capable of doing all things, keeps you minimized where you can be controlled, pay your taxes, do what you're told, not to be able to roam without a passport, get a driver's license, and you're less willing to revolt if you tell a people that they're from another continent, they won't rebel and reclaim their land ever because they don't think they're from here. So there's various reasons that they'll do it. And what I'm providing, I want to share for our children. I want a better world. I want to let them know that according to our ancestors, they are the universe. Everything's interconnected. That becoming wiser was the greatest of success, not gaining employment or a job or having all these titles behind your name or what car you drive. What television shows you as success was not success to them. Gaining peace was understanding who you are and treating nature better. And that's become a better individual. Making someone smile, giving them a gift, giving them nourishment, and creating a culture where there's no homelessness, that everybody have food, shelter, and clothing, when there's no war, treating everything in nature respectfully. Easily, once you do that as an individual, if everybody did that, you would not own a weapon. You wouldn't not create you would have wisdom. So even though you have the intellectual intellect to create a bomb, your wisdom will prevent you from using it or even creating it, because you will know its purpose was not wise. So if everybody became wiser, you will have a better world. And your world does not, according to our answer, exist in this lifetime. You are eternal beings, so you're making the universe better. You may even come back on this planet as something else, as they believe in reincarnation. Excuse me, resurrection. Also reincarnation. So let me explain the difference. So reincarnation is when you come back in the same body. So they believe in that. The Egyptians believe, like, every morning when the sun rises, you are a new person. You're in the same body, but you, through wisdom and using the laws of Mayat, judge yourself. Did I do these things? Did I not kill? Did I provide nourishment to someone else? Did I give someone housing when they needed it? Did I do these things where they critique themselves to become a better person? You become a new you. So when the sun rises each morning, is being rebirthed, reborn again, and you are being reborn. Even though the sun looks the same every day, it's considered a new entity, so, like yourself. So that's reincarnation. Resurrection is when you come back in a different form. So if you're the universe and eternal as an ancestor, you choose to come back as anything. So as you respect anything is your ancestor that came before you. So that's a whole new ideology that's not taught in schools. And I believe so when Rome conquered Egypt and created Christianity, they wanted the Bible to be taken literally. So where the Bible is really describing you as God and providing those proverbs so you become a better person, they want you to believe that there's something outside of you that you bow to and pray to, that you have to get permission to get into heaven, that you are this entity that you're praying to. You give yourself permission to go wherever once you pass away. Okay? That's how the Egyptians saw themselves. So this was all done back when Christianity began to control who they conquered. So it's okay for anybody of any religion, if you're bound to something, they think, that's okay to those who are in power, because once you're bowing to something and praying to something, they are controlling you. So once you bound to that, you can easily be controlled by your government. You're being governed because you're used to bound to something, thinking it's something superior than you. Then it's easier to acclimate you into do this in order to do this, or you won't do that. Oh, okay, I'm something's greater than me anyway. I'll go ahead and do it. So I hope that makes sense.
It does. And I know we haven't gotten totally to the history component of the impact. However, as you're speaking, I'm thinking to myself, oh my God. So laws were put into place to keep us under control. We understand that because man himself believes that we need something external to ourselves in order for us to stay within the box, if you will. I'll just say that for sake of lack of words. However, the way you're explaining it, our wisdom, if we understood the concept of knowing that we are God, we would be able to look at life totally different. If we're God, we don't have to take something from somebody else because it belongs to us anyway. Or we don't have to hurt anyone because we know and understand that we are hurting ourselves when we hurt someone else. And so, if you have that type of ideology, the world would look totally, totally different. I believe I got that component. But for us to get from where we are today to us all collectively believing that thought process, we're a long way from it. We as mankind, out of whatever it is, greed, whatever, wanting to be better than someone else, whatever that looks like, we're a long ways from that. Is there a possibility we're going to be able to get there in this lifetime, in mine and your lifetime?
Okay. Um, the Our ancestors didn't see just one lifetime as your existence. We are eternal beings. So I'm not bothered even if not even one person read my book in my lifetime. My book would outlast me. My information will outlast me in my physical body, me as Aki Tolliver. You existed before you were even named. So Joyce Higgins, you existed before you were given your name, and you will exist once your physical body passes on. But my words will continue on. So that's how I saw our ancestors saw words as magic and power. That's why in school you're learning spelling, you're casting spells. That's spelling. You're spelling words. So give you an example of two stories. So our ancestors wrote many stories to help explain their ideology. One story is called The Tale of Two Brothers, where the younger brother was killed multiple times and did not seek revenge. He just happened to resurrect into a different form each time he came back to life. Once you die, it was a circle of life. So you're born, you exist in the physical realm, your physical existence perishes, but you can, as spirit, you continue in the spirit realm, and then you choose to come back in the physical realm. So he would come back and it just exists. And he eventually became the Pharaoh of Egypt. That's the tale of two brothers. He never sought revenge. He was a poor farmer originally. And he just came back and continues to exist, even though he was killed multiple times in the story. He just had peace. So I gave that story is that war, a lot of times, like, okay, 9/11 happened. We were attacked. We have to go seek, you know, revenge and do away with those who attacked us. Or we can be an example. Okay, you attacked us. Okay. Can we provide you anything? Let's have a discussion. Let's use words. Let's negotiate. I'm not going to do the same thing you did to me. I want this to have a win-win situation because we have to coexist. I'm not going to try to eliminate your thought, because all they're going to do is seek revenge if I'm going to fight back. That's just an example. A lot of wars are fought through, oh, we want to conquer what you got, through this finite planet that we live on. But if you have a wholesome, universal mindset, this we are the universe. What you're fighting over this one little planet. Don't you realize there's trillions and trillions of Earths in our universe? You know, you're killing another individual just for this one Earth. That's just another example. Another story that ties in it is the tale of the shipwrecked sailor, and the sailor sails all around the planet and becomes shipwrecked, and he's the sole survivor of his ship. He lands on an island and meets a dragon, a talking serpent. So there were dragons in Egypt. There are stories of dragons, and the dragon chooses not to burn the sailor up, but provides wisdom and says, the greatest thing I'm going to share with you is for you to go back to where you came from and be amongst your friends and family. That's considered wisdom. So wisdom to our ancestors is that friends and family, one of the greatest achievements or experiences in life is your friends and family. How simple that sounds, a lot can be done amongst friends and family, and a lot of peace can be gained being amongst friends and family. So they felt that was very important. But there's a whole slew of proverbs and wisdoms that may sound simple, but if people follow them, will create a better experience, not just for you in this lifetime, but you're looking at your children. You want a better world for them. So leaving words is something that, or a book that you write, or anything that you create. These things that you see behind me will probably outlive me. My body will perish before these things. So whoever finds these items will see, what does this mean? So I'm leaving this as something that will be found and somebody can research for the betterment of that person. So when they become better as an individual, they have a better relationship within themselves, because the first relationship is important. It's the relationship within your mind. It's your mind that's weighed against the scales of Maya. Your heart in Africa is your mind. And so if your mind is better, his mind is not just more intelligence, like I said, it's being more wise, that you will walk, talk, dress, listen to things, choose to listen to things differently as an individual. And if every individual worked on themselves, you will have a better world.
Okay. Again, initially when you start talking about this, I got chills in my body because I'm listening to this, and it made me say, okay, so I want to reframe. I have one final question, but I want to reframe this question that we're on right now, because you've said a lot, and it's magnificent. And so what came to mind is that let's visualize, and I'm saying let us, but I really mean you. If we knew, and because I believe we knew, but along the way, how history has, in a sense, transformed us because of lack of knowledge. Lack of knowledge mean you will perish, according to Proverbs. But if we knew who we were, who we identified as early on in mankind, how would history look different today? How impactful? What would look different about history today? Our history as we know it. How would it look different?
That's a good question, and that would be a difficult answer. Provide the correct answer. I don't know if there's a correct answer to it, because there's always been stormy weather and sunny days. In nature, you have you have death, and you have life. So in history, when I'm speaking of bad things happening, those things happened even before the creation of the earth. You had what one may consider bad things. That's a part of the universe. So that's where in the yin and yang, you have the black and the white, you have opposites. So this will always exist where you'll have those who may seek selfish means of wanting to get over on other people, or wars will always exist. You're going to have good people who provide shelter and do good things and provide nourishment for the soul. You're going to have even the same type individuals who may do that in a mischievous way that benefits themselves. Um, and this was known to our ancestors. In Egypt, for example, he was called the god Setek, and Setek was like one who gets over in a very mischievous way, but it's done sometimes to benefit uh, something. So sometimes you have to be Setek in order to gain uh, a over a problem. So say you may ascetic also represents not taking the actual proven correct route in achieving a solution, but sometimes using a being I'm trying to think of the word being using I can't think of the word right now, but it's using a very insightful, smart, ingenious way to solve a problem where others may not have taken that solution, but it got to maybe a better or the same solution. Sometimes you have to break the rules to do that. An example is like Martin Luther King. If he was following the laws and rules of the land, he would not have done all those things he did. He would remain a preacher and just said, "Oh, woe is me." You know, the United States says we got to be segregated and follow, do this. We'll just let things happen. He would not have marched. He would not have written books or preached on different subject matter and do the things he did. So he took ingenious ways of not doing things peacefully, and where other people didn't see it, like Stokely Carmichael and the Black Panther Party, who wanted to do a different way. Not saying that their ways are bad, but it's finding a different way of getting a solution. So I said all that and saying the world is made, I see the world as math, that a math problem can be done by using calculus, algebra, trigonometry. There's various methods to get to a solution. And what I'm speaking to is our children. Even though you may see a society, you may live in one, you have the mind and capability to use wisdom and your genius to get to make a better world. So I can't speak of the future, but I'm trying to learn the past and understand our ancestors and what they understood to reveal to you presently to help make to give you a foothold into to making a better future for yourself, because you are our ancestors. Our ancestors, not just someone who passed away in the past. Since we are the universe and eternal and all everything's interconnected, those in the past who have died are ancestors. Those who live in the present, as yourself, are ancestors. Those yet to be born are the ancestors. And those who we don't know of and can never speak of are the ancestors who will be born in the future. So everything, when I'm speaking of, not just speaking of the past, we're speaking of all time and space and all existence. And things may not happen on our watch, but we are eternal beings. Things will happen.
You know, that's what you just said is inspirational, because my understanding of the past, it teaches you about the future and about what you don't want to do in the future. And so there's a saying about learning your past, because you will be have a better future by learning your past. And so, I mean, I like what you said. I don't know what the future brings, but I know I'm gonna teach you about the past, because for sure we know that the past prepares us for a better future. Now, we have one final question today. Uh, you know, you've done a lot of work. You've done a lot of research, and you've been researching for a good long while. I believe your initial work began in the 90s sometime, and you've put it all together and you presented it, and you traveled around and presented it, and done some great work. Where do you see your work taking you to, as far as a career, or as far as the impact on society? Where do you see, or what do you want to do with your work? I mean, the next level, if you will. Where do you see yourself? Where you want to go with it?
Okay, so my work involves those three entities, which is my ebook called Greatest Story Ever Stolen, which is found on Amazon, Kindle. My second one are the two presentations, second and third. One is the Aboriginal Americans are the African Americans are Aboriginal Americans and Europeans, and that I have a work on the Aboriginal Europeans. So those work, two of those, which is the presentations, are always updated. So as I'm continuing to learn, those are updated. So that's what I'm working on now. And even those works as like books, you can obtain them, you can put them on your bookshelf and let them sit there and don't touch them. You can crack open, look at the cover, crack open, read the first page, or you can read 2 pages, 5 pages, and those can be done at any time. So great thing with words, and those three works consist of words. And a word, as magic, a word can exist and filter and be in the mind and provide information that makes no sense to you maybe now, but those same words 10 years from now, like, whoa, I didn't get it then, but I get it now. So if you obtain those works by any means, just get them, even if you don't want to read them now. Just like myself, I don't have time to look at them all the time, but 10 or 20 years from now, or just tomorrow or today, I can go back to those works and read something or refer to something that will just help me remember, because we forget. And I can remember something that helps better me. So those works can help me now, or years down the line, it can help me later. But those words will be tried and true and provide information to help you as a better person. So those works, those three works can inspire me to end up teaching again. I can end up teaching next week. I don't know the future. Or I can end up teaching 10 years from now, referring to those works, reading something like, I'm about being in my 60s. I need to share something with the youngins to impart some wisdom upon them, because I don't see what they're doing today. 10 years from now, I can see children maybe doing some worse things that they're doing today. Like, what can I do? Oh, let's refer to those works that I have, and they can help me remember, oh, these wisdoms I can share and impart upon them. So they're all, those words are eternal and will help me either impart and be a teacher as I am. I can get up and do something and start teaching again, or I may create another book, or I may just being myself, someone may see me as a mentor and just maybe stop doing the things they used to do and behave differently because of me. And that can go with anyone. So as you change your mind, you can change what you listen to, how you speak, how you dress, what you impart to others, and your actions will change. And who knows in the future what how that will cause, you know, the universe will change. I hope that makes sense.
It does. As you were speaking, what came to mind uh, uh, is that when a man knows where he's been, then he could tell where he's going. In other words, I know my past. Then I can have somewhat of an outlook on what my future is going to look like because I know who I am basically. And if you from your body of work have said that I am a God, that means I could overcome all things. And the wisdom that you bestow upon us is great and phenomenal. And again, as you said, uh, this video today, it could be placed on a shelf, someone see it and say, "Oh my God, I didn't realize that about who I was." My identity, my mindset, everything changes. And so it could lead others to be better, even ourselves, because as our friendship grows, I become a better individual. And I hope the same thing for you. So thank you, Brother Aki. I truly appreciate this opportunity to interview and also to present your work because your body of work to me is phenomenal. And I believe others will feel the same way who have not heard of your work. And so every chance that we get to share your body of work, it's a good time. It's a wonderful thing. Again, thank you so very much for serving our world, our universe. You are magnificent. Thanks again. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day.
Thank you. Before we close off, I want to thank you too, Joyce, and the African Resource Center. What the services you provide to the community, you inspire me to keep pushing forward, to better myself. Joyce, without you, my book would not exist. You pushed me to share my knowledge to others, and you keep pushing me by inspiring me to do certain things that I would never thought of. So I want to thank you. You're a blessing to me, and sometimes words can't describe what's in your mind. So that happens. So that's one of those moments right now. Joyce has been a great person in my life, and I want to say eternal life, prosperity, and wellness to you.
Great. Fantastic.